Chop, chop, dig, dig. Cleaned up, ready to restock. In my next installment of Are They Going to Live? Working through, and I'm showing you a good one because I don't want to show you a bad one. Just a beekeeper's natural habit. I could show you lots of bad ones, but then that would make me look like a bad beekeeper. So I'm going to show you a good one. As you could tell from the supplement feeder, we have no pollen yet. We need that natural stuff coming in. And they can't live forever on this supplement. This nest is obviously a bigger one. And I put 1, 2, 3, 4. So they've gone through 2.5 patties. And you can see they've stalled. No, they're still eating it. They're still on it, but they're not as aggressively on the patties anymore. I'm trying to figure out, what's going on. What is going on, and I can especially see it with the smaller colonies, as these nests have built out the brood, pushed their limits, and just waiting for it to hatch out. There's not a lot of open brood going on in here because they pretty much maxed out the capacity of the nest. Now they're just waiting for the brood to hatch to be able to start it up again. So I anticipate let's get down in here and see. I anticipate around a brood to hatch within this week, as goes my calendar. We're starting to see some young bees in the nest, and those are the ones reared in the winter shed. So there's not a lot of those showing up, but I'm noticing little baby bees walking around, which is extremely encouraging to start to see some youth finally within the nests. And then that brood that we reared just outside the shed, that should start this week, if not already. Such a slow spring, but finally a nice day. I mean, it's calm, 15 degrees. Felt good walking out of the house this morning. Nest has some pollen down there. It's a little patch of brood. Honey, stored syrup. Well, that looks really nice. Nicely capped, and now she's just starting to pull it down a little bit more there. This colony's got a little bit of girth to her. Nice capped brood. A little bit of open brood scattered out. We have stored syrup, some pollen down there. Same on this side. Some baby bees walking around. I'm not seeing a lot of open brood. Another frame of brood here. This is just about to emerge. That bee there is actually starting to chew through the cappings. So we are going to see some young bees right smartly here, as we already are actually. Look at all these little young bees walking around. Well, that's refreshing. The queen's coming through. There's some eggs in there. You know, the nest isn't too terrific, but we're still seeing a lot of brood. This is going to be, you know, maybe the end of the week yet before that emerges. And yeah, this side's completely hatching out right now. And she's following up with eggs pretty swiftly there. This side just emerged by the looks of it. And she's followed up with eggs on this side. There she is right there. My baby. So I suspect that once all that brood hatches out, it's going to leave all that empty space again for all those eggs to start developing, and there's going to be that demand on protein again. Hopefully, as that demand of protein comes upon us, they'll have access to that fresh stuff. Here's a nest that maybe represents, I'd say, probably a third of the survivors I have here. Obviously, I was quite optimistic with it. They're over to the side. There are probably 6 frames, but they're definitely not 6 frames now. They've lost some steam, lost some momentum. And I'd put another patty on here by the looks of it. I put 2 extra patties on it, because of my last round's assessment looking like, oop, there's some optimism there. Got to make sure they're good to go. Maybe got overly ambitious and put 2 patties on. What is going on here? We'll just take a peek. I want to center this cluster. Like they're not even on their strip anymore. They've kind of slid over there. There she is, beautiful looking queen. Little patch of brood, pulling that out with eggs, stored syrup all the way around the edges, set up very nicely. Yeah, same old story here. Look at all the little baby bees, finally seeing some youth. We have ourselves a patch of brood. And this is all they've been able to hang on to. With all the attrition within the nest, I don't see any chilled brood or any damage here or anything, but they're able to hold themselves a little core and hold on to it. This side we're getting some emergence, and it looks like she's following suit with eggs. She's not pulling them down as much. She has filled up with syrup there, so that's good. Yeah, and this is where a lot of little baby bees running around. This is all nicely freshly emerged. I'm seeing this right full of eggs again. And pulling it down below the brood nest there. We're getting an emergence. End of this week, we're going to see a full emergence, a full around, and we'll be able to see exactly where these colonies are at. Same here. That looks like about a football size of brood in here, and that's all they've been able to hang on to. It's too bad if they just had a little bit more bees, they could have pulled themselves out a little bit more. But they've been able to hang on to what they've got going, so that's really important. So we'll be able to take a stride in some warm weather, and hopefully this pollen starts flowing. I'm talking to beekeepers around, and they're seeing fresh pollen starting to come into their nests. We haven't yet. I mean, that supplement feeder over there doesn't lie. There isn't a stitch of pollen out here yet. These bees are very angry, very grumpy. I can't wait until we get some fresh stuff coming in. These bees start getting, a nice full gut, become more satisfied, less stressed. Maybe we'll see some springtime beekeeping conditions here. But yeah, they set their nest up and they couldn't go any further. So because of that, the demand on protein ended. So the advancement of the nest, what I anticipated earlier, is kind of stalled because that's all they had in the tank. I'm going to leave this on the hive now to greet all those baby bees coming out. So, when they emerge, they'll have access to that protein source to be able to fully develop themselves. And as that queen fills the rest of that nest up with eggs again and carries on to the second cycle here, there's going to be a demand for protein again. And hopefully they don't have to turn to these patties. Hopefully they can welcome that new brood nest with fresh incoming pollen. Wouldn't that be a treat? Wouldn't that be a treat? But I'm going to leave these patties on just in case we fall into some crap weather again. We are riding on the line again. We're just so close to timing out. You can see that old nest disappearing, and the emergence of these new bees have just provided that reinforcement they needed. Otherwise this colony would be dead. If we didn't have those young bees emerging, all these old bees would have, they're timing out. This switchover is happening right now. There's no question about that. Going through one of my typical colonies. About 4 frames of bees in brood. A nice football-sized brood nest. But coming through more and more of this. Canola honey. Just powder. They can't even access it. Pulling it out of the comb. This is the result of some of my stress I've seen this year. It's just the inaccessible sugar. I should be able to use that by going out and getting water and diluting it down, but they're actually just pulling it out and throwing it onto the floor. Stress, stress, stress. Still on the patties, somewhat. And just a little hard done by brood nest. Little baby bees. Got some youth.